welcome to NXT. Well, no, that's the wrong show. Welcome to Taking Over. We just watched NXT. Wow, it's been a while since I've done something like that. Hi, everybody. I promise I'm not drinking. I am Natural and Ol'Ed, and I'm joined by the quiet one, Astrid Pizarro. This show's off the rails, and it's only been on for 10 seconds. Yay! We got friends in the chat. Hello in the Hot Seat podcast. Hello, John Cena. We've got call-ups. We've got draft picks. We got free agents. We got titles. We got a tournament. We got all kinds of shenanigans. We got Apollo Crews and Trick Williams being friends. All kinds of crazy shit happened tonight.
Yeah.
Where do we start? Let's
beginning?
start. We could start at the beginning. That is always a good place to start. Yes, Barry. You should be slightly scared. I have a lot of energy tonight, and I don't know why.
Yeah, me neither.
It was a good show tonight. It was like Astrid said it, and I can't really think anything better. Everybody just kind of came in and said, we're just going to put on our A game tonight.
Yeah.
And they did it. And it was good. Hey, y'all, had you done this all the time, we might not be getting 600,000 viewers and,
It's 98 viewers. Come on. For
I
us.
know. Well, for
I know,
us,
but for
it's,
us.
for us, it's 3 right now, but it'll get better. But we've got post-draft chaos. We got all these people that are all drafted to various brands. By the way, I loved trying to find a Jinder Mahal with him in a suit that looked good. I had to go to a television show he was on to get that one. Because I could only find really good Senga and Veer ones with them in a suit. For the SmackDown crew, we've got Alba Fire and Isla Dawn. You're still NXT Women's Tag Team Champions. Somehow. Not sure how that works. We've got Grayson Waller, Mr. Irrelevant, the final pick of the draft. He's going to make sure he's anything but irrelevant when it comes to his time on SmackDown. Pretty Deadly are going to SmackDown to, my God, some of the matches they can have on that SmackDown roster. I've already zeroed in on Luke Gallows and Carl Anderson versus Pretty Deadly. And I've zeroed in on them versus the Usos. Those right off the bat, those are the 2 matches I need to see. And of course, Cameron Grimes is back, y'all. Cameron Grimes is coming back, and he will be on the SmackDown brand. And of course, Raw has a much bigger crew, where they have Apollo Crews, Zoe Stark, Indus Sher in its entirety, JD McDonough, whom we saw tonight, Odyssey Jones, who we saw nothing of tonight, Casey Squared, who were in the main event match, and Indy Hartwell, who was in the main event segment. Lots of fun stuff going on. Lots of people going, changing brands. Astrid, which call-up to the main roster is going to work out best based on what you think they might be able to do with them? Because we all know NXT call-ups have been mostly poor in the past. But now we've got Triple H. Hunter's running the show. He knows his people. He knows his kids. What do we think of this NXT draft, and who's going to be the standout on Raw or SmackDown coming out of this? Don't forget, we also have, come Tuesday, Von Wagner and Zion Quinn as well. They aren't on the graphic because they're free agents, but they're there too.
You should have done free agents graphic. What happened to that? I'm kidding.
Because I don't think I could find a Von Wagner render because I don't think anybody cares enough to have made one.
No.
It was hard enough finding a Jinder one.
What about me, Mark? Come on, no, I'm kidding.
We'll get to that Von Wagner promo because I kind of like that. We'll get to that in a little while.
I think I missed that part.
You probably did. But yeah, Astrid, question, asked, answer.
I think for me, one of them that definitely would stand out, I feel like it's Grayson. I feel like he has something unique to him, and I wish we would have gone. I don't know. I forgot where the Miz landed. I think he landed on Raw, didn't he? If I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
I'm like that interaction is one I would have liked to see before the draft happened, like having them in separate ways. I feel like that would have been something that what I wanted to see. But no, I feel like Grayson will be like one that will really stand out for me, and I think Zoe for the ladies will be one that will stand out as well. She brings something different to the table, so you don't know how it's going to be there. And one thing that I noticed, at least from the draft, is that we got a lot of women's tag teams now. So we'll see how that goes on in the main roster now as well.
Well, yeah, you say that. We have a lot of women's tag teams on the main roster.
Yeah, yeah,
In NXT,
it's
we
dead.
have we have we have this many. We have 0 dimes.
Yes.
We have less than 2 dimes does. 2 dimes at least has 2. We've got none. Well, I
Yeah.
guess I lied. I don't like to acknowledge the existence of this. We have 1 female tag team left in NXT. Lash Legend and Jakara.
Yeah. But they still haven't debuted as a team on NXT. That's been leveled up, so that's a little, I
I
would say, a little
understand,
different. So
but
it's like
they
half
still
there.
they still
Oh
exist,
yeah.
which is sad.
But no, it's just exactly how I told you. Like as we were watching it, it's like I'm not saying NXT has bad episodes because I know they had their days. There's some are better than others, and I enjoy the show most of the time. But I feel like tonight everybody gave out their like A game, thinking of like this is the last we'll be in NXT, so we better show off what we got. And it's like we got so many great matches and so many showcases tonight that it felt even greater to watch it tonight more than anything.
Yeah, we've got a bunch of people popping in here. Mark says Pretty Deadly going to run the SmackDown Tag Division. I mean, when you've got the Good Brothers and you've got the Usos and there's a few other tag teams over there, run is a hard word. They're going to be entertaining in the SmackDown Tag Division. I don't know if they're going to be able to run it. They've got some veteran crews that have been running the business
Yeah,
in tag
but
team wrestling for years.
for them, I would have liked to see an interaction between them and Seth Rollins with their fashion and going back and forth on their fashion sense. That's something I would have loved to see too. And I was like, when he got dropped to the Raw, I was like, shoot, I wanted to see that at least a little bit there.
I swore they were going to have them do stuff with MMM and have Maxine. I thought they were surefire Raw when I saw all those people going to Raw. We
Mm-hmm.
have in the Hot Seat podcast says make me think SmackDown will have their own women's tag titles and NXT would get that. I think we might be based on the promo. We'll talk more about it when we get there. I think there might be 1 set of tag team titles for 3 brands.
Yeah.
They mentioned it in their promo. I think we're going back to the original idea now that Trips is in charge and he can do this. I think we might be headed to 3 brands. Now, granted, NXT is going to need to build tag teams to be able to challenge for them.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't be surprised if the next PLE we see a unification match between Isla Dawn and Alba Fire and Liv Morgan and Raquel Gonzalez.
Mm-hmm.
And I pray they take those titles off of Liv Morgan and Raquel Gonzalez.
Dang, no kidding.
For me, the people who I think are going to make the biggest impact, it depends. Grayson Waller is going to make an impact wherever he goes. Cameron Grimes is immensely entertaining. And with Baron Corbin to be a free agent, there's a lot of fun I could see between Baron Corbin and Cameron Grimes.
Mm-hmm.
But that women's tag division, it's been in need of an influx of actual tag teams.
Mm-hmm.
And as much as I dislike KC Squared, they're a real tag team.
Yep.
And Alba Fire and Isla Dawn are very good at what they do. So I think it's Alba Fire and Isla Dawn because I think they could instantly win those women's tag team titles and just go on wrestling people. And the matches between Dakota Kai and Io Sky, Dakota Kai and Bailey, like there's a bunch of fun matches that they could have right out the gate.
Yeah. I'm like, they could easily reunite Emma and Dana Brooke now again. Now that they're on the same brand again, we got Chelsea and Sonia as well. Ronda and Shayna got drafted together. So there's a few teams going on tonight, going out after the draft now. So that's pretty interesting now that they have a good like playing field going on, except for NXT.
And there's this tag team that used to be tag team champions where one of them's working a short-term deal and one of them is working a handshake deal and is doing a world tour. And never say never that we might not see Sasha Banks and Naomi back in the Fed sooner rather than later. I'm just saying. There's no way Naomi's lurking a long-term deal for Impact. She's been out way too long to have signed a deal too long.
Mm-hmm.
But we'll talk about her and Impact another day. Because that's not NXT. And boy, do we have a lot of stuff to talk about on our own tonight.
Yeah.
We start off the show Cruiserweight style, just like the old Nitros, we got Wesley versus Drew Gulak. And this... I like to tease. I'm not a big Sasha fan. I don't think either one of them are coming back anytime soon. It is what it is. I think Sasha's making way too much money doing her own thing. And Naomi's just getting back in the ring and seems to be having a whole lot of fun. So, Sean Cena says Wesley is only 39 days from having the longest reign as North American champion, passing a guy whose last name was... We're not going to talk about that.
The Dream has no memory of that.
The Dream has no... It's so funny how hot he was and how quickly you can burn to nothingness by doing just stupid, dumb shit. Barry's correct here, though. This match was way too short.
Yes.
By the time I thought it was getting into its high gear, it was over. And I'm like, what the hell just happened? Wesley starts this match super hot, just runs in, the bell rings, and he just drop kicks him and starts beating up Gulak. And then, essentially, nothing happens the rest of the match. Dempsey gets involved on the outside. Tyler Bate finally, after like the third time of Dempsey cheating, goes ahead and takes him out. Wesley gets back in the ring, hits the cardiac kick, and the 1, 2, 3. And that was that.
Yeah. You got it right there and there.
Like, I'd love to say more. There's nothing more to say. Drew Gulak wrestles... I was super excited because Drew Gulak wrestles a fun, interesting mat-based style. This match was over in less than 6 minutes. It's a shame because there's a lot of matches and segments that went a little longer than I would have liked, and this match went way too short. Do you have any more thoughts?
I literally wrote my notes just like almost exactly what you said, and then I wrote, "Does Tyler ask for a match, or he just turns on him?" Because after Wes was victorious, he's standing like way too close to him to the part that I was like, "It's gonna happen now, isn't it? It's gonna happen." But I like that subtlety, like of him just looking at the title, while Wes just like kind of raises it in the air after being victorious, kind of like you could be next. But I really thought he was gonna turn on him right there and then just kind of like, I helped you, so now this is my turn. But I figure like this is something that if they do keep Tyler as a face, it'll be easier to just say, "Hey, I helped you, so why don't you just like give me a handout and just give me a little." I don't want to say handout, but like partnership of like I'll give you I'll give you a title shot afterwards because of it, kind of situation. But I just kept thinking he was gonna turn, and I kept looking up for it, and it wasn't gonna happen. I was like, dang it, I kind of wanted it to happen, but no.
We get a recap of the NXT title match that was in the middle of the show last week. And then when we come back, we get the Unholy Union talking about how this is their last night on NXT. They talk glowingly about KC Square, but that they're going to ruin them tonight. And then, like we said earlier, the comment that caught me by surprise in this promo, we're going to take these titles to SmackDown and defend them in all 3 brands. And I'm like, ooh, they might not be gone after all.
Yeah.
We may have a weekly segment on Taking Over where we talk about the women's tag team titles, just in case they're going to come back to NXT. Another great segment from these two. These segments are killer. They make a whole lot of sense. They don't feel like they're laughing the entire time, making a mockery of everything. For those who watched Making an Impact this week, you'll understand the difference.
Yeah.
Do you have any more thoughts on the Unholy Union here in this thought?
No, I thought the same thing you did. That line really caught my eye. Just thinking, it will be interesting to see them now that there's so many tag teams in the main roster, seeing how they play out, and it'll be interesting seeing forward now how NXT starts building tag teams now as well here, because I think one that after her injury will be Danny Palmer and Sol Ruka. That will be the one that I can see kind of building up there. But I was like, now it's just a time of having to work more women's tag teams in NXT, which we'll see how that goes in the next couple months.
Yeah, it's definitely that they've made a conscious effort to try something. I don't know what they're doing, but I'm excited to see where they go because they've taken so much away from us and we don't know what's happening next. So time will tell. We then get Trick Williams cutting an in-ring promo. And he did a really good job here.
Mm-hmm.
He talked about WJ Keenan High School, which, by the way, is in South Carolina. I don't know how that works because I know Carmelo Hayes was raised in the Northeast. So I don't know how they went to school together in South Carolina. But that being said, he hypes the main event for Battlegrounds, talking about Braun and Carmelo. He talks about how Melo got hurt last week. He was in the hospital. He's recovering fine. Out comes Braun Breaker, who says he's obviously looking at the tougher person in the Trick Mello gang. Which, I'll be honest, Braun made me chuckle a whole lot in this promo. It was
Yeah.
good. Like, for those people who last night were telling me that Braun Breaker can cut a promo, yes, this is one night where he cut a good promo. But again, he's doing it in front of 100 people. He's not doing it in an arena full of 35,000 like he's going to do on a weekly basis. Braun did really good here. He says he has the opportunity to embarrass Carmelo in front of his family, his hometown, and his friends. And he's looking forward to taking that opportunity. He doesn't want the title because he needs a title. He doesn't want the title to represent these stupid idiots. He's obviously been watching some Chris Jericho. He says, nope, I want this because I don't think Melo deserves this championship. I don't want Melo to have it. Trick Williams did amazing, but see, I disagree. I disagree that this was an inconsistent promo. I thought Braun Breaker hit point after point after point, and he had his little bullet points, and he hit them. Um, I think Trick Williams did amazing, but Trick Williams always is amazing.
Yeah.
He gets called a mouthpiece by Braun Breaker, and
Mm-hmm.
Williams, without missing a beat, goes, "I'm gonna break your mouth."
Yeah.
I'm kind of looking forward to this match next week, which is surprising because I really don't think I thought I would ever be looking forward to a match like this. Heel Braun is 100 times agreed.
Yes.
Some guys just do better as heels. Triple H has said it always made him more free to do what he wanted and to feel better, and the promos just come off better when Triple H is a heel. Randy Orton has talked numerous times about how he hates being a babyface because he feels like it cuts into how he cuts a promo. Many people have said it. It's happened all the time. And you know what? Speaking of Randy Orton, Astrid, why don't you tell us about this clip that we're about to play?
Yeah, good segue though. I didn't think about that one. Uh, no, for those of you that don't know, I do have an interview series called Astrid Ask. I interview a lot of females in the wrestling community, and my next guest is none other than Samira, and she's a big Randy Orton fan. So I figured I will give you guys a little preview of the interview that will be airing sometime this weekend.
Actually did meet Randy, so that like was like a full circle moment for me. Like the person that I like love to watch so much, like the biggest reason. So he was very nice. I had a sign at a local I can't even talk at a live not independent meet. I can't talk today for some reason. You know, I'm like the talker and I can't talk. At a local WWE show around my area, I had like a sign like take a selfie with me. Like I was so excited. I was like hoping he'd notice me, and he did. He came, took a picture with me. I was like so excited, and like intermission started. You know, the selfie comes out a little blurry, but I don't care. Like I was just like over the moon. I post it. All my friends are excited. Show starts back up again, and a security guard comes up to me. He's like, "Are you Samira?" And I'm like, "Yeah." And I'm just sitting here thinking, "Am I about to get kicked out? Like, how does this security guard know my name? Like, what's happening here?" He goes, "You know, Randy saw the picture online and it came out blurry. He wants you to come back and take retakes." And I was like, "What? What?" And all the people around me are like, "What?" And I'm like, of course, like, and like, my mom was sitting up like in like the hundreds or 200s or something, and I'm like on the phone with my mom as I walk by. I'm like, "Mom, if you don't see me, I'm going to take a picture with Randy right backstage." And she was like, "What?" And like I go back and I get to like meet him and talk with him for a little bit, and it was just like, oh my god, and he was like the nicest guy ever. I was like, that literally probably like made my whole entire life at 15 years old. And he was just really nice. I'd love to meet him again one day. I haven't like met him since then. I would love to meet him again, and like my dream is definitely to interview him, sit down and interview him because he's just great. um I would say now after, like now that I'm in the business and you know now I like work with some of the people that I grew up watching or I've
And yes, you can see that wonderful interview on Astrid Asks sometime this weekend, you said?
Yes, sir.
Sometime this weekend, she'll be dropping that interview with Samira. Samira does all kinds of things, whether it be ring announcing, whether it
Yeah.
be podcasting, whether it be interviewing. She's a fantastic person. She's great in the wrestling community. And Astrid, as always, does all kinds of Astrid Asks with different people in the wrestling space, mostly all the women's space. So it's very much an opportunity. And like I said, we're talking about Randy Orton. I figured it was a perfect time to drop that clip. Mark, getting back to his earlier point, says he didn't do enough with the crowd to get more heat. You have to understand, when you're dealing with a room of 100 people, I don't want him interacting with that crowd because it doesn't look good coming off on camera. The crowd was good enough for him tonight, booing him and teasing him and chanting trick and everything else. I think at one point they were saying beat this trick, as in talking about beating up Braun Breaker. Heel Braun is great. Yes, there are some missing opportunities, but this is so much further ahead of where he was 2 months ago, 3 months ago. And it's literally in the blink of an eye, just turning heel has turned him into an entirely new person. We're seeing an entirely separate person from the guy that we've been seeing. The all-black Goldberg. Braunberg is in full effect. I love it. It is the new name. Alexa Bliss is another one that's better healed than a face. You know, she's ironically watching MLW right now too. Great guest. Yeah, MLW is fantastic. If you want to learn more about MLW, Ring Respect Radio, I don't know what they're doing going in the future with that, but they were doing a lot of fusion stuff. So Bobby Munson and Papa Smokes on the OLE network is where you want to get all of your MLW stuff. Ask them questions. They'll tell you everything. They're great people. We go ahead and get a promo segment with JD McDonough backstage where he says he's waited 2 decades to become Monday Night McDonough. And then Noam Dar comes popping in and goes, hey, you know, we're friends. And JD's like, no, we're not friends. And he's like, can you pop Dragon Lee's kneecap or something to keep him away from my cup? Keep him away from my cup. I gotta keep my cup. And JD says, stay away from me. You're not my friend. You just want a shortcut. And if you get in my way, I'm going to take that cup and bring it with me to Monday Night Raw. Everybody that was going up was on point tonight. All of the people moving on had their A game tonight. JD McDonough felt like a different person tonight. He had a new motivation. We'll get to it later with Apollo Crews. We'll get to it later with KC Squared, with the Unholy Union. All of the people going up felt different tonight. Any thoughts on JD McDonough and Noam Dar here?
No, just like what you said, it just said that part of like made me chuckle and it made me think of that stuff like between him and a little bit of the part with Trickers that made me think of like everybody's bringing their A game tonight, and I love how it sounds already, and just it made me feel happy about like the beginning of the show as it was, and motivated me to keep watching it tonight.
Yeah. We then get Gigi Dolan versus JC Jane. And as the ladies wrestling expert, I'm going to let you take the role on this because we want to say nice things about this, and I don't have a whole lot.
I don't either. Ironically, no, this is one of those that I wish I could have said like this is something that I was hoping. This is one of the few instances I want to say this. I was hoping for some kind of like double count out, double DQ, something like that, that would cause this match to have that the match to have a rematch at Battleground, like you said with the last woman standing match, because it's something that made sense. And then seeing it, I feel like it wasn't it. I really would have seen more like aggressiveness from the girls because it's more personal at this point than it is for like most rivalries going on. So I expected a little bit more from them. I feel really awkward having Gigi's brother there at ringside as this was happening. You get like you could tell he was just trying to not move from that area when he was sitting by, and I was like, I don't like it. The I feel like the only like great, not great, but like the only thing that like really stood out was like really that part of like the part with the steel, exposed steel. So JC ended up bleeding, and then she, just showing off that. And towards the end, as she was beating up Gigi in front of her brothers, like, oh, this is what you wanted to see. And the like comments that she made towards him as she was beating up Gigi and she was bleeding on her way out, and that's the only thing that like really stood out. But it was like there was something in this match that made me think of like this was like a great ending to this feud, because it really wasn't.
Yeah, Mark says it best. The match annoyed me. It didn't go long enough. Not enough. I think too much happened with the little brother. Mark says not enough happened with the brother, and it was a cleanish win. It needed more heat and fire. It did need a little something. It
Yeah.
felt, for the type of feud it was, it felt a little lackluster. The brother, either needed to be more involved or less involved. But however much involvement they had wasn't the right amount, and I don't know which way I want it to go. Because Mark says more, I say less, but I can see Mark's point about more. Like, going back to SummerSlam 2005. Love it or hate it, hate the story. Rey Mysterio versus Eddie Guerrero for the custody of Dominic in that ladder match. There's something special about the involvement of Dominic in that match. Just the way he reacts to Eddie, the way he reacts to Rey, the way he gets in the ring and tries to like shake the ladder as this little itty bitty kid trying to shake the ladder to knock Eddie off. There's so much involvement from that. And that whole match felt like it was about the little brother. And it, but it didn't come out that way in this match.
Yeah. I feel like one thing that I would have tried to do, and it's like not have him in that area, but have him like closer up to like the lower area, so that way he could jump over the barricade and kind of like maybe shield Gigi during the pin, so JC wouldn't pin her or something like that, to like involve him in a way. But you can tell he kind of wanted to move, but he wasn't moving. He was just holding on for that guardrail in there for like dear life. That kind of don't move from here. But I feel like if he would have been involved, or like maybe like kind of shaded her in a way of like protecting her, so that way JC wouldn't win, or try to avoid JC winning in some shape or form, like something like that. I feel like would have worked for me, but I feel like they only involved him towards the end mostly, so I feel like it wasn't enough of like something so personal, especially when they mentioned, hey, he's gonna be at ringside. The only time you saw her interacting with him was during her entrance, and that was about it.
Yeah, the upper section made it awkward. It would have been better if he was at ringside. Hell, it would have been better if he was sitting with the timekeepers. I think that was the real missed opportunity in this match, is not having him on the floor. Like, you don't have to get him involved. You don't have to have him do anything, but you have to have him closer, because you really couldn't get the feeling when JC was going after him and yelling at him. It didn't feel the same because it was too far away. Hello, Bobby. Good evening, my friends. How are you both doing? I had a flawless start. I didn't call the show the wrong show. It was perfect. Don't watch the beginning. It's fine. Nothing happened. But we're both doing pretty well. We then get my surprising match of the night, when we have Axiom versus Scripps. No. He has not popped up, and if you don't know what he's talking about, go ahead and watch our shorts and you'll find out about what I think of Eric Bischoff in our My GM 2K23 thing. So this was a good match. I really enjoyed the flippy doop stuff that I don't normally like in this match. Because that's all this match was flippy doos. Like, there was no actual wrestling in this match. Like, I understand that that's a form of wrestling, but let's be honest. Most, even Lucha Libre matches, there's a lot of holds and this, that. There wasn't a whole lot of the hold stuff tonight. This was, let Reggie just kind of flip-de-doo. And I'm sorry, that's all
I know,
does.
it just sounds funny. I'm sorry.
But no, Reggie, Scripps, whatever you want to call him, it was a good effort by him tonight.
Wait, it was Reggie all along. Oh my God.
Booker was, do you know, yes, Booker, we've fucking known for 6 months who this is. Yes, we've known.
We know since he debuted.
There's only one guy that does the flip like that. Yes, it's Reggie. Literally, he's the only one of us from Cirque du Soleil. Yes, he's pretty obvious when he does that special flip off the table, but that's absolutely Reggie. Not to mention, he sounds like Reggie. Not to mention, he looks like Fat Reggie. He looks like a fatter version of Reggie from Raw. I noticed it today. He's put on a lot of weight. Like, I'm not weight shaming. I mean, look at me. I'm not weight shaming. But compared to the little itty bitty trim guy that was on Raw versus the guy we saw tonight, I don't know if he put on a lot of muscle or he's just gotten bigger, but he's definitely filling out that costume a whole lot more now than he ever did when he was as Reggie. Talk to us about Axiom and how wonderful your man did tonight.
I love his part of it. I just don't. I don't like the scripts are from like most people. I would say at this point, I did love the ending though of like the way that scripts is coming down and just kicks him. And he just like celebrates with the audience as he was doing, towards the ending there. I love that part of it, and even just taking the mask off. I thought, I don't know if I missed it, but I thought this match was advertised more like a, kind of like mask versus mask, and I didn't realize it wasn't. And then he took off the mask like nothing, and I'm like, this would have been better if they just advertised it that way from the get go, because I realized it wasn't, and I thought it really was. So I was like, I feel like that was a missed opportunity on that end. But I feel like the match in itself was better than I thought it was gonna be. It's just like now I wonder, say, what's gonna happen with Scripps afterwards now that he got unmasked.
Mark is right. The 450 into the super kick was one hell of a spot. I mean, that thing was phenomenal. That golden ratio of his is a running, leaping, weird super kick that I absolutely adore. This was fun. Like it was a bunch of fun. It's the best the two of them have looked in a long time. Because honestly, Axiom does a lot of good stuff, but he doesn't always come out looking great in all the fun stuff he does. He came out looking great tonight. Like, I could see him going back into that North American title picture. I don't want him back in that North American title picture. We're finally done and over him, and I can move on to somebody else. But it feels like that's kind of where they're going to throw him back into. Either that or tag team him with Dragon Lee because, Spanish people. Because that's what WWE does, but like they've been doing so good, but I just have this bad fear. Every time I see the two of them, I'm like, they're just going to team them together, aren't they?
No.
We get JBBJ into the bar. By the way, it's absolutely the same bar that Gallus goes to. It's so the same bar that Gallus goes to.
Mm-hmm.
Mark jumping in saying Tyler Bate versus Axiom will be a great match. Yeah, as if we've never, that'll be a great first time ever match that we've never seen before. Like, there's never been Tyler Bate versus a kid named Axiom. No, I know. I'm just teasing. But no, Tyler Bate. This isn't El Generico. We don't have to pretend they're two different people. Although Axiom did, and that was great. That like 6 weeks ago when he pretended they were different people.
Mm-hmm.
Back to JBBJ in the bar. They all say that they don't have to, that they're family. He doesn't have to apologize, and they're going back and forth. And Fallon starts looking at the bills, and she gets all sad because they're still losing money. Well, yeah, you're letting Gallus drink there seemingly for free every week. Of course you're losing money. Start charging Gallus, and you might make some money. They seem to drink a lot. I don't know. He says that he's learned a lot from Kiana, and Briggs like, no. This is a PG bar. We don't talk about that here.
Yeah.
Oh, that was great.
Yeah.
But he starts spouting off all kinds of business stuff. He talks about how the land is valuable and how if they sell off the portions of the land that they don't use, to which I'm like, what parts of Florida have extended pieces of land that aren't used? Especially in the Orlando area. Like, what? Is there any place in Orlando that has large pieces of land that aren't used? That, like, I haven't been there in a while, but it seems like everybody would be buying every ounce of land that you could find in that area. That's a bit much. That's a bit much. I'm hoping that that's about Axiom and Reggie and not about Benson and Briggs, because these guys are actually pretty good. Everybody's impressed that he knows business stuff and that they seem to might have a way to save Fallon's bar forever, which is nice. And two girls try to hit on Brooks and he politely declines because he's an idiot. What? He's an idiot.
Yeah.
Okay, just want to make sure that you weren't like, oh, God. I'm like, no, the whole purpose of this was to give him game. He gets hit on by pretty girls and then doesn't use new game that he got.
Mm-hmm.
I did notice, though, Fallon did compliment his new look. Did you? I don't know if anybody else
Yeah.
caught that, but I caught it.
Mm-hmm.
She's like, "Oh, I like the new look." What did she call it? Did you remember what she called it? Because she gave a specific name for it.
Yeah. No, I don't remember what she called it, but I did notice that too. Like,
Oh,
but I thought this was funny though because I like the part also when he's like, "Dang, like you hit hard," and he's like, "Well, you have some hints of stone too." But like when he's apologizing to them and he goes, "No,
yeah.
it's okay. Like we just sometimes we just need the moments of like end up beating each other up and then we'll be fine." I thought that was funny, and I like how they also mentioned the part about tornado watch because we did have a tornado watch here last week, this past weekend. So when I heard that, that was funny to me at least. But no, I feel like I've seen the two girls like backstage in certain
Oh
aspects
God, yeah.
before, but I don't know who they are, so I definitely wanted to check out who they are later on. But yeah, I just thought it was funny. But he's like, "No, I'd rather be with them, like my family," and I was like, "You just got broken up too. Just take one of them at least. Go out with one
Take
of
both
them."
of them. Take both of them. See what you can do, man. Come on, Briggs. Come
Yeah,
on,
but it made me
Jensen.
wonder now what they would involve Kiana in now that she's out of this picture. Now it seems like finally after what a year and a half at this point of this storyline, I think maybe. So yeah, I just want to see what her future will be like now in the women's division again. Who's she gonna get involved in next?
Yep. Speaking of people who do have plenty of talent, regardless who we're talking about, Dragon Lee versus JD McDonough. Uh, my notes are, wow, this match was good. I'm sorry for the tag team title, ladies. I love you. Women's wrestling needs more spotlight. This should have been the main event. This should have been the main event. This match was fantastic. Lots
Yeah,
of good stuff happened in this match. Noam Dar comes out with his cup, and he's talking to the cup like it's a person, and he's curled up with his cup. I guarantee you he's going to start calling it Cuppy like he called it Foxy. He's kind of obsessed with this cup. It's a bit much. JD with the spot where he falls when they're trying to set up the Spanish Fly, and then they go into a spot where they just keep fighting. They're like, well, screw it, we'll just fight our way through into the spot, and then they get into the spot and they do the spot, and it's fantastic. Dragon Lee hits that finish, and he just sort of rolls out. No, we're not calling. Oh, by the way, Booker. No Dragon Destroyer. I don't care. I assume it was Booker. It was probably Vic. No Dragon Destroyer. It is the Canadian Destroyer. Leave it be. Noam Dar gets involved. Dragon Lee quickly disperses of him, but trying to get back in the ring, gets hit by JD McDonough. He falls down as JD's trying to do the devil inside. And he picks him back up, hits him a couple more times, then does the devil inside, and gets the win to head up to Raw. Pretty good match. What did you think?
yeah. Yeah, I love this match. So just like this is one of the instances that also made me think of like, dang, this is JD going. I'm going out, but I'm giving you guys like the best I can do tonight, so you can remember me by this match particularly. No, just that the only thing I thought was Dragon Lee was gonna win. Just thinking of like Dragon Lee's the one staying in NXT versus JD. He's leaving, so I just expected Dragon Lee to win it. But I was like, either way, it's a win-win for us, no matter who wins this match. But overall, it was great. I loved it from beginning to end. Yeah, and I loved the ending, especially that Spanish Fly spot. The way they just recovered from it, very well done. Loved it.
Bobby sits there and says, "No matter what you call it, please leave it be. It's one of my least favorite moves in pro wrestling." I'm assuming that goes back to the Canadian Destroyer.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is a great match. I'm looking forward to the British rules match that we're going to get out of this for the Heritage Cup in the near future. I'm hoping that it's at Battlegrounds because I'd like to see one of those because I've never seen one. So that would be fun. It also showed that having as much of the talent go over tonight as they could that are going up and putting them in such a position to succeed, it's so different from the old days of NXT where you went out on your back. I don't know if that's Shawn Michaels' call to make them look strong on the way out, as opposed to because they're not going anywhere, but they're just getting called up. But, forever and a day, you always knew that when a big match like this, the team was going to lose on their way out the door. And more often than not tonight, the talent looked like they were in a better spot coming out of it.
Mm-hmm.
Mark says this match showed why WWE wanted Dragon Lee for so long. Really looking forward to seeing JD on Raw. Yeah, JD looked like he's a viable competitor on Monday Night Raw with this performance. There was a talk in the Discord and the Tom Unity. I don't care if they're both heels. I want to see JD versus Gunther one more time because I've seen that match on the Indies and it effing rocks. That match is, if you think Will Ospreay versus Gunther, and you think Ricochet versus Gunther, and Tyler Bate versus Gunther, and Pete Dunne versus Gunther, all of those matches are good, but the one where JD takes the title off of him at OTT is one of the best matches I've seen in a long, long time. So much good stuff that can happen on Raw. And yes, Dragon Lee has been pursued for many years. WWE finally has him, and I couldn't be more excited. We get a backstage promo with KC Squared, how they say a Raw team, for the first time, is facing a SmackDown team for a pair of NXT titles. I mean, technically that's what's happening. I mean, technically that doesn't happen because they're not officially on Raw or SmackDown until the 8th. So they're also NXT talent tonight. But yes, a Raw team versus a SmackDown team. And then for some reason, Kaden Carter refuses to get hugged by Katana Chance. And I'm like, I don't get it. Like, these girls hug at every opportunity. Why was she so opposed to the hug tonight?
It just reminded me so much of my sister's like, don't hug me, don't touch me. But she does my younger sister's hug her, so I know it's a thing. I thought it was interesting, though. I don't know if you caught this, though. When the Unholy Union was talking about them, it was more like complimenting them of like, this is how they've been a team for a while and little things like that, versus when they talked about them, they're like, how long have they been a team? Like, what, 4 months? How long have we been a team? Oh, it seems like forever. And I was like, I thought it was interesting, like the heel team was the one putting over the baby faces, the baby faces talking trash about them. I was like, huh, that's pretty interesting. But I love how like that forever joke has made me think of like they've been in NXT, but it feels like forever at this point. So that made me laugh when they said that part, though. But of like the way they were like, we are the longest reigning women's tag team champions. We're this and that. And I was like, I feel like the girls put you over already as it was. You should have done the same for them in an exchange in that way. So I thought that was interesting when I noticed it in their promos, though.
Yeah, just another reason to hate Casey Squared. It's fine. We also have another backstage promo where we have Ava and the Schism talking backstage, where Joe Gacy is talking about how he's going to win tonight and give the Schism a tag team title match. And I said, yeah, that's funny. Your ass is getting beat. Your ass is getting beat quick. Oh, boy, was I proven wrong. Ava then stops him. Mm-hmm. And this is an interesting line. She says, get it done for them. Then make sure you go and get something for yourself. Mm-hmm. Interesting. Okay. Which title do you think Joe Gacy's going to go for? Because I have my ideas, but I'm curious what you think first.
I don't know. I feel like right now I would have preferred to see him in the North American title. Because I feel like now with Carmelo and Braun, I feel like we have the NXT Championship kind of like, I don't want to say planned out, but like kind of like focused on something for a little bit. Versus Wesley has been facing like in a way like almost random people at this point. So I feel like that would be for me that's what I like, because I'm like, at least get those titles like that, the tag team and the North American together.
Yeah, could be fun. I had a feeling that this was going to be another beatable challenger for Carmelo Hayes. He puts down Braun Breaker. He then gets Joe Gacy and he puts down Joe Gacy. It could be a lot of fun. I would love to see Piper Niven team with the Unholy Union. Unfortunately, they're now on different brands because they were silly and they put Tamina on SmackDown and put Piper on Raw. Gallus lost. Love it. I love me some Gallus. I mean, technically, Gallus didn't lose. Technically, only Joe Coffey lost. But yeah, we get to the match and Joe Coffey, surprisingly, via shenanigans, in a very short match, gets pinned by Joe Gacy after Joe Gacy hits his... Now, what did they call this? Because they actually gave it a name for the first time in forever. This backhand spring elbow thing that he does. It's almost like a lethal injection. They gave it a name, and I forget what it is.
I didn't realize it. Yeah. But I like that part of with Ava though. I like not only that, but seeing Ava like part with like Joe like that. I was like, holy crap! I know she has like boots on, but still, she looks impressive standing like right next, like in front of him like that. And that part of like that Eddie Guerrero kind of thing of like pretending that he beat her up. I was like, well, we saw something similar like that on Raw. Now we get an NXT. You know, Viva la raza. Eddie Guerrero still lives on.
I mean, we're headed to Puerto Rico. Everybody's shouting out, the Latino heritage for right now. It was a fun match. I really didn't understand, nor like, nor want to know, nor care about Ivy Nile backstage watching with the Creeds, who then goes, "I'm sick of Ava always getting involved," and storms
I was
out. I'm
like,
like,
this is the first time you pointed out.
like
Like she
Ava,
points it out.
but Ava typically never, like, for the most part, she never gets involved. Like, recently she's been getting involved,
Hmm.
but 90% of the time she just stands there and does nothing. I know it's to set up a feud, but it's not a feud I want to see.
It's, it just to me, it almost made it seem like she has kind of complained about it several times when she hasn't. This is the first time on screen that we see her going, "I don't like it." So it's like you make it seem like we've seen you complain about it beforehand, but we really haven't. So it's like the line itself was interesting.
Mark Talks Wrestling saying, "I want to see Ava in the ring more so she can improve more." I agree. I think Ava needs to be in the ring. I just want her in the ring with people who aren't as inexperienced as her, is the terminology I'll use. Hopefully, with some of these free agent ladies wrestlers, we can go ahead and, if there are any, get some of them down to NXT and get some more veteran presence down there, because Lord knows the NXT roster could use some veteran presence, because there is none anymore now that Alba Fire is gone. There's literally none. Like, I think
Mm.
Roxy is the most
Yeah,
tenured female.
that's what I was saying online. I was like, the only one that a lot of people were like complaining that she getting called up, and I thought, if you think about it this way, she's the one the most experienced out of anybody right now in there before her, because most of these girls have been starting up from being in the PC. So she's the one the most experienced out of anybody right there at that moment. Nothing with the call ups too.
Yeah, Mark Talks Wrestling says we need people in the ring with her that can carry her but help her as well. Like I said, there's this NXT has this great crop of young, interesting talent, but at the same time, all this young, interesting talent needs veteran leadership, and we have none, and that's a massive gap in this NXT Women's Division. But at least they're being featured. They're being put on TV. They're building feuds. So we give them the benefit of the doubt for that. But there's room to improve. Hello, Mr. Parrish. How are you? Hope you are well. You can catch me and Chris Parrish every Saturday as we go ahead and do Wrestle Draft. This week you'll have weeks 2, 3, and 4 leading into our first premium live event coming up on Saturday. And that will be taped and presented live, but we've taped it. And tomorrow, if you missed it, you can catch the draft and week 1 on the YouTube channel tomorrow. We'll get to all that in the plugs, but I wanted to say it right now while we're here. Danny Palmer is then doing her best Rob Van Dam impersonation as she's doing her splits on the boxes, as she's talking to Sol Ruka, where she says, "Sol, I'm so thankful for you making my gear. I wouldn't thank Sol Ruka for that gear. It looked awful. I hated that gear." Did you think that gear looked good?
It made me feel uncomfortable because I was thinking it's like I feel like it's gonna have a wardrobe malfunction at some point. That's what I keep thinking about. It's like plus I mean it's the first time they tell us that Somoka makes gear.
Yep. Also, speaking of her doing her best Rob Van Dam impersonation, Rob was back for the draft, and he's obviously an inspiration for her with her flexibility to that. You know who else has inspirations? Samira. So we're going to play one more clip with Samira talking about some of her inspirations, and we'll be back in just about a minute.
Just do it. Don't even question, like, can I do this? I don't think I can do this. Jump in and do it. You have to chase after your dreams and what makes you happy. Because if you don't, like, you're always going to wonder or you're never going to know. And I just remember I was like, I need to do what makes me happy. And if that's wrestling, I'm going to jump after it and go for it. And don't be afraid to reach out to people. Like I said, I reached out to Sam. She was extremely helpful, and I'm anytime anybody reaches out to me if they want feedback, and I'm like, oh my god, you want to reach out to me, like out of everybody. But I love helping people. Just chase after what makes you happy. Do the work, like study whoever it might be. I mean, I study Renee Paquette. I study Kathy Kelly. I love looking at Sam. Alicia Atu who has been around for many years when she does also music too. Like study whoever it is to see, how you could phrase things or how to say things differently. It's, there's so many things that you can look at. And I still do that. Like, you're always learning. That's like the most important. You want to learn. But again, do whatever makes you happy, because I'm so, so happy. Like, when I go and do what I have to do, I'm extremely happy. I don't feel like I'm working.
And again, you can catch the rest of that interview and all the things that Samira is talking about this weekend on Astrid's YouTube channel. I don't believe it's going to be on the Twitch side. It's only on the YouTube side, right?
Yeah, only YouTube, yeah.
All right, so youtube.com/Astrid Pizarro, I believe it is. We then have Eddie Thorpe, who is chasing his dreams of being in the WWE, and he's being hazed by Damon Kemp, being treated like a rookie. I do find it funny, considering Damon Kemp's brother has been signed to wrestling for 2.5 years now, and has made one appearance in the ring. But they're hazing the rookie. It looks like it's going to set up a match probably next week. I'm excited for it. I think Eddie Thorpe wrestling somebody who's not our man Javier Bernal is always a good thing, because I can then cheer for Eddie Thorpe again, because it was hard not to cheer for him when he was wrestling Javier Bernal. We get a Chase U segment, or should I say a Duke U segment.
There you go.
I did love Vic Joseph at the end of this being like, I think they already have a Duke University. Andre Chase cancels class. They talk about Dr. Tom potentially filling in to get work done for Dr. Tom. For those who don't know, that's probably going to be Dr. Tom Pritchard, a reference to Bruce Pritchard's brother, who does a lot of training for most of this young talent, probably trained with Dr. Tom Pritchard at his school with Kane. It's unfortunate that partnership now, but, is what it is. Dr. Tom's a great teacher of wrestling. He's taught many of the greats, including The Rock, including Mark Henry. All kinds of greats have come through his schools throughout the years. So most likely your favorite learned from Dr. Tom at some point in time, as he worked in WWE for a long time too. Otherwise, this segment was boring and useless, and I didn't care. Any thoughts?
No, I just more than I did love the part of like Duke University. I was like, yeah, we already got one of those. I did want to point out though, because I don't know if you caught that part. The part with Damon and the one Eddie when he called him the young boy, and it kind of annoyed him about being called a young boy. I was like, that New Japan reference there though.
Yep. I did love the New Japan reference, because he's no longer a young boy, because he graduated from the dojo. So he's not a young boy, which is why it irritates him so much.
Yep.
We then get a quick segment with Robert Stone and Von Wagner talking about Von's dad, showing off pictures of places that Von's dad worked in. And again, these are all WWE photos because of the fact that Von's dad was part of a long-time tag team. So he's, he's a second-generation wrestler, even though nobody really knows who his dad is, as opposed to most of the other second and third generation superstars. Because his dad wasn't a star. His dad was just a great hand in the ring as a tag team competitor. And then you see a couple of photos of Von as a child, or I'm assuming they're supposed to be Von as a child, where he's had a rough life going at it in the beginning, if that was Von. So if he did, congratulations for him to get where he's at, because some of those photos did not look like he had a happy childhood. I would ask Ashley what she thought about this, but she didn't even know the segment happened. So we're going to go ahead and move on to the main event match, which Ashley's going to talk much more about, as we have Isla Dawn and Alba Fire defending their NXT Women's Tag Team Championships against KC Squared.
What can I say? I love the part of the beginning of the belt not being wrong, because they started just beating each other up as they were, more than anything, and it took a little bit of time before the bell rung and the match was official. A lot of those double team moves, as always, I loved them from both teams. I love them, and a lot of false finishes as we got, because we had a lot of here we're pitting this one, but no, the person from the other team is coming in to break it up a few times. So that part of it too, but I feel like I didn't know who was gonna win this match. I really didn't, like, going into it. I was like, is it gonna go this way, that way? How what route are they really gonna pick? I was not expecting the at the towards the end more than anything. I was thinking the girls are probably gonna retain anyway. I don't see Casey Square benefiting right now from winning the titles. So as you know, as we thought they retained the titles, so there was nothing new in that part of it. Casey was busted open towards the end of the match though, when the pinfall happened. But I feel like it was, like I said, it's like the both teams just decided to go. This is our last match in here. We're gonna go all out for it, and they really went out for it. So I'm really like glad I did because I feel like it definitely showed tonight.
Yeah, they went all out. They had a great match. Even Casey Squared looked good in this thing. It was nice seeing Casey get her a face busted open because it's always nice to see a little bit of blood in a women's match is okay. We don't have to go AEW levels where Britt Baker's face is covered in blood. We don't have to be putting out a shirt where Britt Baker's eye is all, that shirt. I understand her point, but she's wrong. I have a different opinion than she does in this situation. We're going to agree to disagree, but I think she's wrong that shirt isn't a bad idea. But no, this match was really good. It's proved how far Casey Squared has come. I will say nice things about them for a little while here. They were still annoying in this match. I still don't like them. I still hate their entrance. I hate their ring gear. I hate the whole vibe of their characters. It doesn't appeal to me in any way, shape, or form. But they've gotten better as in.
Yeah, I feel like more than anything, it definitely showed out. I forgot who said it though. How it says that both of them are really like on the same page, and it really showed for this during this match, like it always does anyway. So
Apparently, I must have gone out while I was in the middle of talking.
yeah.
Okay. Where did you stop hearing me so I can go back to where my point?
You were hitting on everything, so you can go ahead from
Uh,
wherever.
I think that Katana Chance, Casey Catanzaro, however you want to say it, in the 4 years that she's been down here coming from Ninja Warrior, she has actually improved to be a talented wrestler where I feel like you can put her in matches and she doesn't have to be carried. She doesn't have to be in there with somebody who knows what they're doing. She can just go out there and do the thing on her own, which is sometimes a rarity for her because it's been a long time coming that she gets to this point. Their tag team was really good tonight. It really fit well. Mark says, I said on my show that I was surprised at how much I really enjoyed that. Yeah, I really enjoyed this tag match. I wish that they would have had this kind of energy and fire their entire time in NXT. It would have made them slightly more bearable. Don't tell Britt you disagree with her on Twitter. She will block you. I don't care. I don't watch the AEWs. I'll be honest. I didn't even know the context of the shirt until today. Because I hadn't seen anything about it. It's still not a shirt I'd want to wear. I love how people are comparing it to the Eddie Kingston D's Nuts shirt. You want the difference between Eddie Kingston's D's Nuts and the Britt Baker shirt? D's Nuts is a joke. And it's funny. And it's intended to be funny. Britt Baker with a black eye on a t-shirt is not a joke. Again, back to NXT because I shouldn't rant on other programs that I don't watch. It was good. I really enjoyed this. I'm excited to see what happens from here. Like I said, what I want to have happen is I want to have a unification match with whomever are the women's tag team champions versus the Unholy Union, whether it be Bayley and Dakota, whether it be Liv and Raquel. It doesn't much matter to me. I just want them to go ahead and be the champions. I am going to let Astrid take over for a few moments while I try to see if I can fix something.
Here, you want me to talk about Indy? Well,
Sure,
I'll
you can
go ahead
talk
and
about
talk about
Indy.
Indy. No, after the match itself, we had the interview. Well, I would say interview, but like the promo from Indy. She comes out here and she says like over 1,300 days ago, she arrived to NXT and to be here at the PC more than anything. She's like, this is at a time when we have people like Bailey, Charlotte, and Asuka. and she mentioned how they carved their own way in NXT, and there some of the women who made the championship as important as it is in NXT. And I love the part of when she says like people have doubted me. She's like until I found my way, giving a shout out to the way. I love the part also her saying like, "Oh, I had a WWE wedding that had no interruptions either." So I like having her show off a little bit of like the highlights of her career in NXT. Then she mentioned like she got drafted to Raw, and she still can't believe it after it happened. And then now she's saying that next week we're gonna get a tournament to crown a new champion, and the tournament itself will be ending when Ed is gonna watch it at Battleground in Lowell. So she said, "Well, more than anything, before I go out, I she's like, this is the quote that I go with my life." Um, and she says, "Don't cry because it's over. Smile because it happened." And then she jokingly says, "Now I have to find a way to get out of this ring because she has the boot on." And as she's trying to find her way out of the ring, we get Dexter sliding from under the ring, giving her thumbs up, and just the smile on her face was really priceless to see. And he just carries her out to the backstage, and she's putting her thumbs up. And just as this is happening, we get a shot of the championship laying in the ring, and then we have Tiffany picking it up, and then we have Cora grabbing it from her. They have like that little toss and turn here. And then we get so many other girls backstage arriving, kind of to promote that upcoming tournament. Some of the ones that I spotted, because I missed a couple of them. I know Lara was there. We got Roxanne. Danny Palmer was involved. Ivy Nile, Fallon, Electra. Wendy was back as well. Tatum, Valentina, and Thea. So we had an kind of like an all-up brawl to like kind of promotion because they didn't mention who was going to be part of the tournament. What did you think about Indy's? And if I was going to say interview, promo.
I want to go with Mark's thing. That was an amazing promo by Indy. It was great to see Dexy back together. It fully makes me so happy. I thought it was fine. Uh, I I don't connect to Indy Hartwell. I don't. To her as a person, I don't connect with. I connect to Index. Her and Dexter together is great. She cut a good promo. This was really fun. This was really entertaining. It was really interesting. It's one of those things that just happens, and it's great to have, uh, you know, all these things go on. But it is what it is. We're getting the tournament. Sorry, I'm all distracted because I'm trying to I'm trying to make sure my internet's all set and checking a couple settings. It was a good promo by Indy. I don't think it was an all timer. It was one of her better promos. I'm typically harsh on Indy because again, I'm not the biggest Indy Hartwell fan. I think in the ring she's broadly fine. She's good enough. She can do what they need her to do, but at the same time, I felt like this was a weird decision on them, and it's even weirder seeing it play out 4 or 5 weeks later. I think had they known what they were going to do in the draft, which I think that they should have known going into Mania, they really should have just not given her the title.
No.
It really hurts that she got hurt last week, so she's out 4 to 6 weeks with a high ankle sprain. But I'm glad she's getting put over to the main roster. She's back with the Way. I'm almost certainly she's back with the Way, as they're all on Raw with the exception of Austin. So, and having Dexter there carrying her out, it just felt great. I love the Beth Phoenix call out at the end of the show, talking about how Beth Phoenix is crying on her TV watching this. Mark's right. They better give Tiffany that title. I agree. I have no idea. So the rumors coming out of the show. Hello, Mel. I have no idea why they decided to change it back to Indy Hartwell. That's my biggest decision. My biggest problem is we've heard this week that mid-match, when Indy got hurt, they made the decision to go with Tiffany. And then Indy decided she was going to get back in the match. I don't know why they didn't just continue to go with Tiffany, knowing she was going to be hurt, and then literally 3 days later have her get called up on Raw, on SmackDown to Raw. It made little to no sense. It would have made a whole lot more sense to just have Tiffany win, because now we're having a tournament for no reason. We had, going into WrestleMania weekend, We had Roxanne Perez almost vacate the title, supposedly, because of her anxiety issues. So we had to have qualifying matches for a ladder match that was supposed to crown a new champion that ended up having the championship defended by the champion, to have the champion nor the top challenger win the match. Like, it's been confusing, and I don't understand what's going on. And if it's not Cora and it's not Tiffany, I don't understand what they're doing. Because there's no reason to put it back on Roxanne now. Because you have your heel challengers ready to go. So there's no reason to put it back on Roxanne. There's no reason to do half the things we do. So we just need to get a direction. They need to focus. They need to focus, as Astrid always tells Ed. They need to focus on the women's division. But it was good. It was fun. Indy came out. The crowd was into her. She was into them. She had her crutch. And, you know, we're moving on.
Yeah.
We are going to see our post-Battleground, our post-Backlash rosters come into effect next Tuesday night. So come next Tuesday night, we will have no Von Wagner. We will have no Zion Quinn. We will have none of all of these wonderful people. Yes, focus, Ed. I see it in the comments. All of these lovely people that you see on screen will not be on the show next week. From here on out, these people will all be, going forward, will not be on our show. Who do you think is going to have the hardest time on the main roster?
Yeah, shoot.
I don't want to say who's going to be the biggest disappointment, but who's going to have the hardest time, whether it be getting over, having their character understood by the crowd. What's going to happen that's going to change the way we look at them going up?
I think I can't pick one, but I'm stuck with. I was gonna say Odyssey Jones is one that I thought about, but also Von Wagner, because I feel like he never really has had a connection with the crowd since he started. And if you brought him up just like that, and not only that, but Zion Quinn, because as much as I like him, dude has nothing going on for him in NXT. So it's like, well, how do you bring somebody up when he has no character, like nothing, like for him to like really present to the crowd itself? So those are the ones that I could think of, because I don't think they have a good enough character that the crowd is gonna like them, because they're gonna get no reaction, which is not great for them either. So those are the two that I can think of, like right on top of my head.
I've got one, and I'm gonna talk about his segment as well, because he was on the show tonight. Apollo Crews. Apollo Crews was in NXT because he couldn't connect with the crowd and they had nothing for him. They've brought him back up, and I still think we're going to fall into that same category of they're not going to know what to do with him.
Mm-hmm.
And Triple H loves him. So if he's ever going to succeed, it's going to be now. Because Triple H is the one who helped him develop the finisher. Triple H is the one who knew he was going to be a star in NXT when he brought him in the first time, before Triple H had to start pivoting to all of the other indie talent they brought in. So if he's ever going to succeed, it's going to be now under Triple H. Mm-hmm. But I have a bad feeling he's not going to be able to get traction on the main roster. We also had him, like I said, backstage at Trick, giving the rub to Trick Williams, saying we don't always get along, but you're a big guy. You're a guy that people can connect to. People are going to love you. Don't forget about making sure that you do you and not only be about... He didn't say the name Carmelo, but it was very clear that he wants to make sure that Trick understands that it needs to be about Trick. I thought he was going to be asking him to come up with him. I was surprised that he says next year we could be seeing you here. Parrish popping in says Von Wagner has had struggles since he got into wrestling, period, let alone the main roster. But put him in a tag team with Corbin. I could see that. I think Cameron Grimes and Baron Corbin make a much better tag team idea. But I could see Von Wagner with a tag team with Baron Corbin. Zion Quinn will find it easier as he will start from the bottom. I agree. I think he's starting as an enhancement talent, and I think they're going to develop something for him going forward. We know he can do good things. We saw it when he feuded with Legado. Now, how much of that was Santos Escobar, and how much of that was that they just gave up on him after that, I don't know. Parrish also says Apollo should be in the new Hurt business with Bobby and the Profits. That's a good place for him. I think that could work. But Apollo's on Raw, Bobby and the Profits are on SmackDown, so I think that's...
Cedric and Shelton, weren't they like free agents too, or they got picked already?
Yep, Sheldon and Cedric are free agents.
Yeah.
Omos is a free agent along with Sheldon. The Hurt business is going to pick a side, and they're going to go that way. They have Omos, they have Shelton and Cedric. They're all free agents. They're going to pick some... Of course, we can trade them, but right now we got to work with the grass. We got to work with the rosters we know, because we can't assume that there's something that's going to happen, in the future when we don't know if it's going to happen. Speaking of things happening in the future, I want to go ahead and play the calendar of all the things that are happening in your future. And remember that you can find Ol'Ed at all of these wonderful places. You can email us to talk to us at olepodcast@gmail.com. You can find us on Twitter and Instagram at olepodcast. You can find us on Twitch, as you've seen right here, at twitch.tv/ourlocalestablishment. Same place on YouTube at youtube.com/ourlocalestablishment. All kinds of fun things. Remember that you can go to rogueenergy.com and use the promo code OLEPODS to get 10% off your order. They have all kinds of fantastic flavors. They're a great energy drink. You can scan that QR code underneath Astrid to get there. I'm a fan of their watermelon flavor. They have all kinds that they're constantly adding. They have some that are shakes. They have some that are energy drinks. They have cans now. We're going to make sure we get a few cans for Astrid so that she can stop drinking that Red Bull on stream. Yeah, we're thinking. But we got a couple comments in here. With I want to see Grayson Waller versus LA Knight. That could be fun. Parrish thinks that LA Knight will feud with Austin Theory. That could be fun too. Let's put them all in a triple threat match. Sure. Let all the talkers just be in a triple threat match.
Let's make it more fun.
It'll be great. Some things work, some things don't. Who knows? We'll see what happens. Astrid, tell us all the wonderful places that we can find you this week.
You can find me on my Twitter, like it's down there, Astrid Pizarro. Instagram is Astrid Pizarro 20. This week you can find me again on Thursday, making an impact with Cody. We have the debut of Naomi, aka Trinity, now in Impact, so that will be exciting to talk about. Friday I will be doing Ladies Fashion Showcase, and if I'm not mistaken, it will be live. I know Steve from the SCW Wrestling Channel asked me to join him to do a little preview and a little Q&A about Backlash. And we do have Backlash coming up. It's being in Puerto Rico, so I'll be part of that post show when it happens to this Saturday, if I'm not mistaken. I keep thinking it's Sunday.
She will be hosting the Our Local Establishment post show for Backlash this weekend. You can, of course, find me on Twitter at EdFries12584, on Twitch, potentially at EdFries2002. Someday, I swear, I'm going to be able to do that. I've been doing stuff here. You can find, as I said, Wrestle Draft Episode 1 will be going live on YouTube. It's a pre-recorded version from this Saturday. It'll be live on the YouTube tomorrow at noon. You can find the pay-per previews sometime this weekend. I know it's penciled in for Friday. Parrish and I have not talked about when we were going to record that, so hopefully we can talk about that sometime soon. Figure out. But me and Parrish will be doing pay-per previews. We will also on Saturday before Backlash, before pay-per reviews, we'll be doing Wrestle Draft pre-recorded. Show will be airing this Saturday at noontime. So go ahead and go check that out. We will also have me and my other tag team partner, Andre C. Oh, I'm a busy boy this week. Me and
wow,
Andre
you
C.
have, do we switch agendas?
No, you still have more going on than I do. But we will have me and Andre C. and potentially a special guest. We'll be reviewing the last installment of the Guardians of the Galaxy trilogy as James Gunn finally leaves the MCU to go full-time take over the DCEU. And we see the potential last time for a bunch of our favorites in the Guardians group as they go ahead and finish up. So, as they finish up, we're going to finish up. But before we finish up, I'm going to go ahead and try to do a raid. Let's see if I can do this right. So, we are going to raid... why don't we raid the Dad Trainer? He's playing some WWE 2K23. So, let's go ahead and raid him. For all of you watching on Twitch, which is all of you that are watching on the Ol'Ed Twitch, we will see you next week. Have a great day, and we'll talk to you later. Bye. We're already raiding the Dad Trainer. I don't know what's going on. All right. For all of you who are still here, who didn't raid the Dad Trainer, I've been Ol'Ed. This has been Astrid Pizarro. We're going to see you next week. Normal ending. Goodbye.
Everyone is watching me when I'm coming around.